Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another video. And welcome to the continuation of my reviews for the Jason films. Now that we are done the Paramount era of films, now basically what ended up happening was that after Part 8 came out, didn't do that well. I think Part 8 was the lowest grossing movie of the Paramount films. Basically, Paramount, I think they sold the rights. I think that's the way it went. They sold the rights to New Line Cinema, and the New Line Cinema started making their own Jason movies, and they came out with two of them before, of course, Freddy vs. Jason in 2003, which this movie has a little bit of a tie-in with that, and I'll get to that in a second. But for this review, it's going to be on the first New Line Cinema made Jason film, and that is Jason Goes to Hell. Also known as Jason Goes to Hell: The Final Friday. Now, this one was released in 1993, directed by Adam Marcus. And now this one you have, for the cast-wise, you have John D. LeMay, you have Erin Gray, Kane Hodder once again returns as Jason, right there on the back. Now, this one, getting on to the actual film itself, it's way more different than all the other Jason films. Now, I get what Adam Marcus was trying to do. He was trying to do something different with the franchise. I can see like what New Line Cinema was doing with this. They wanted to go a different route than the other films, like the first 8 movies. Basically, in this one, Jason's really not really the main antagonist. Like, Jason himself, like, his presence is not really the villain. Like, you don't really see him a whole lot in the movie. I'll tell you what, Jason's design in this is awesome. It's probably one of my top favorite designs of Jason. I still say my favorite is Part 7, is my favorite Jason design, but this is a pretty good one too. I like the way that the makeup's done on Jason. I don't know who did the makeup effects, or production designer W. Brooke Wheeler. I think they did a pretty good job on the design of Jason. I think it's a pretty cool design. Sean S. Cunningham actually had a hand in producing this too. Harry Manfredini comes back to do the score, because I believe Harry Manfredini didn't do the score for Jason Takes Manhattan, but I know he came back for this movie. But basically in this one, it's more about Jason possessing bodies and having people, taking over their body, and they kill other people. So it's kind of like Jason's in their body, possessing them, and they kill people. Because, like, in the beginning of this movie, when Jason's in it in the very beginning, and then you don't really see him until the very end of the movie. Basically, when Jason gets shot up basically he gets blown up by the FBI, because they're tracking Jason down, and they take him to the morgue, and this doctor finds Jason's heart, and he eats Jason's heart and basically gets possessed by Jason, pretty much. And then from there, like, everybody starts getting, like, the guy gets possessed by Jason, and then he kills people, and then Jason goes to another body, and then they kill people, so on and so on. Now, going into the film itself, I'd probably say this is my least favorite Jason film. I think I probably like it less than Part 8 and Part 5, because Part 8 and Part 5 are decent movies, but, I like the fact that, in Part 5, I mean, even though it wasn't really Jason, it was kind of Jason, but it wasn't the actual Jason. While in this one, like, I get, like, what they were trying to do. They were trying to go a different kind of way with the series. I get it. I appreciate you trying something different. But it's kind of an interesting idea, having Jason possess bodies, but I don't think it's as good as just having Jason himself as the killer. That's what I kind of prefer, just Jason being the killer himself, and just with the machete and things like that. But, as time is going on, this film has grown on me, but I still say it's still my least favorite of the Jason films. I used to not really care for this movie back much when I was a teenager, but I feel like as I got older, it kind of grew on me a little bit more, just because I like the franchise. And I still say, like I said, my least favorite of the Jason films. But I still think it's okay. I think it's an okay movie. But not as good as... I wouldn't say it's as good as probably Part 8 or Part 5's. I hate to say that, but you know, the cast does a fine job. John D. LeMay does fine. John D. LeMay, it's actually a rare thing. It's actually a male lead this time instead of a female lead, because you figure in the other Jason films you had Adrienne King, Amy Steele, Dana Kimmel, Kimberly Beck, Melanie Kinnaman, Lar Park Lincoln, things like that. But and granted, you had Tom Matthews as Tommy Jarvis as the main male lead in Part 6. So it was really a rarity to see a male lead like John D. LeMay, just like how Tom Matthews was as Tommy Jarvis in Part 6. And, you know, I think he does a fine job. And the other ones, you have Erin Gray does fine. You also have Rusty Schwimmer as a girl who works in a diner. Joey B's the character name. You might know Rusty Schwimmer from, I think, Sleepwalkers. She was the police woman in Candyman who arrests Virginia Madsen. She was also she was in the beginning of Twister. I mean, you see her in a lot of stuff, Rusty Schwimmer. Her death scene is pretty brutal. It's probably one of my favorite. That's the one thing I can really give this movie. My favorite part of the movie is the gore. Probably the goriest film of the Jason films. I will admit the death scenes in this are really pretty damn good, and the gore is really damn good too. Like you have, you know, there's one point in the diner when some guy's possessed by Jason, and he takes one person's like wrist, and then he snaps it up, and you see the bone sticking out of it. That's pretty gruesome. Joey B's death, you know, her face gets bashed in the very beginning with the guy at the morgue. He gets hit in the back of the head with a probe thing for an autopsy by the guy that ate Jason's heart. You also have a guy who gets stabbed by like a barbecue skewer. You have a girl who gets ripped in half and things like that. So like, there's some really good gore effects. That's like the one thing I can give this movie that I love the most is the gore. I think that the death scenes are really, really pretty damn good. So that's one thing I can give big thumbs up to. And also the ending, because basically the ending is that when Jason is back in his form here, he gets destroyed, and basically all that's left in the sand is his ripped up mask. And then Freddy Krueger's glove pops out of the ground and drags it down to hell, and that would lead up to Freddy vs. Jason. So, in a way, this is like the beginning of Freddy vs. Jason. Like, you can watch... I say this and Freddy vs. Jason's a really good back-to-back because they follow after each other. So... But overall, it's an okay movie. The cast does fine. The gore effects are great. I like the death scenes. I don't think it deserves, like a 4.4 or something like that on IMDb. I don't think it deserves that low, to be honest. I mean, geez, that makes it sound like it's like a sci-fi movie on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's not that bad. But still say my least favorite of the franchise, but I still think it's an okay movie. Just the reason why it's okay is because, like, the concept, I get what they were trying to do with being different, but I just much prefer having Jason as the killer himself, like just Jason himself. You know, the possessing the bodies, granted, different idea, different concept, but I just much prefer Jason killing people just as Jason himself. So, but still an okay movie. So that is pretty much it for my review for Jason Goes to Hell. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. You guys take care.